Welcome to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia, and this is where we get real about life with celiac disease. I'll share honest conversations about the emotional side of living with an autoimmune condition. Think of this as your mix of support, relatability, and inspiration to help you not just survive, but thrive with celiac. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, I'm not a medical professional. Everything I share is based on my own experience living with celiac disease. This podcast is not medical advice, so please always consult your doctor about your own health. Welcome back to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia, and we have Liz Purvis with us from Yeet That Wheat, the iconic handle.
Thank you.
How did you come up with that?
Okay, so super funny that you mentioned that. So this is Toasty. Toasty's like my...
Is that a Squishmallow?
It's not. It's just like a loaf of bread, but it's like winky on one side and smiley on the other. And I've had it since college, and I was... During quarantine, I was just like throwing it around my room. And at that time, like Yeet was very much in the Gen Z vernacular.
Yeah.
So, and I had just been diagnosed with celiac at that point.
And you already had the stuffed animal? You already had a bread stuffed
animal? It was
animal?
meant to be, I swear.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you Gen Z?
I am. I'm 26.
Oh, I'm 26 too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we're like the same age. Yeah.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, amazing. So you were diagnosed with celiac around COVID time?
In like the height of COVID, like 2020 July was when I was diagnosed. So that like first major wave was when I got that diagnosis from my doctor. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And how long had you been like dealing with symptoms, or like what led you to go to the doctor?
Like forever. Basically since I was a baby, like I like to say, like, I came out of the womb with stomach problems because I was really colicky. And then I always had, like, really bad, like, constipation as a kid. But, like, you know, it was – the way it was talked about was I'm not doing something right. So, therefore, it's, like something that I'm – it's something within my control. Like you're not
eating right or something like
Yeah,
that?
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a very common phrase.
Like you would go to the doctor, or you would like tell your mom and she'd be like, oh.
Oh, both.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents were like, oh, it's definitely like something, like you're too stressed. You're not sleeping enough. Like those kinds of things. And then my doctor was like, just like drink more tea.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, it's hard because constipation is somewhat normal for people to have, even if they don't have like an autoimmune disease or celiac or something. So sometimes it is hard to differentiate, because sometimes like I'll get constipated now.
Yeah.
And I'm like immediately like, oh, gluten. But I'm like, wait,
it's
could
like
just be something totally different. Yeah. And it's hard to distinguish.
For me, I think that was like one of my major symptoms. And because I, for so long, was 50th percentile with like all of my like health metrics, they were like, there's nothing wrong with you. But like,
okay, like you were growing at the right rates and everything. Okay, I
I'm
gotcha.
shorter than most of my siblings. Like my siblings are all much taller than I am.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3" on a good day.
Okay, that's like average for a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom's taller than me. My dad's taller than me.
Okay.
The only people like in my family that are not taller than me are my little brothers, and then one of my sisters is about the same height, but like I haven't seen her in a year, so she might be taller than me now.
Okay. So like relative to your family, you're probably
I'm on the smaller
having
side.
That malabsorption with
and
growth,
I definitely do have that issue. Just for like, you know, like my IBS problems also demonstrate malabsorption, and I am chronically like vitamin B deficient, vitamin D deficient.
Okay.
And then, like, for me, like, the multiple diagnoses thing is an issue because it's, like, I have symptoms that coincide with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Which is tricky.
Wait, so tell us, you have GERDs, IBS, and
I also have something called functional dyspepsia, which is it's a very new thing that GIs are finding out more about. It only recently, like, got named as a thing. But basically, it's, like, IBS, but your stomach. So that basically means that, like, you know how people talk about having, like, an anxious stomach?
Yeah.
That's effectively, like, what I have. Like, the nerve endings in my stomach are just, like, super hypersensitive. Okay. So I get really, like, acidic stomach, so it feels like my stomach's burning a lot.
Oh, wow. That sounds painful.
It's not fun. Yeah. That was one of the things that, like, I thought was super normal growing up. I was like, oh, my stomach feels like it's on fire. I didn't eat anything, and that's just like how it is.
Right. Yeah. Because you're just used to that feeling. You don't know any different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like it's that your duodenum can become like really inflamed. So there's like more research going on about that. But those are the 3 GI things I deal with. And
did you get diagnosed with those at the same time as celiac, or was it different? Okay.
So I had ongoing symptoms. Celiac took away like a lot of them, like the frequency.
Oh, good. Okay.
But some of them were still persistent, like the constipation, the reflux. It definitely decreased when I, stopped eating gluten. But it's still there. Like tomatoes, for example, are like a trigger food for me.
Okay.
So my IBS diagnosis came a year after celiac, and so did my GERD diagnosis. Okay. But my functional dyspepsia diagnosis came 2 years later. And that was after having some like gastritis attacks that were really not fun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So you were still kind of like going back to the doctor and dealing with symptoms.
Yeah, like lots of endoscopies to follow up, make sure I didn't have like ulcers or SIBO or H. pylori or anything. And I'm really grateful I don't have any of those things.
Yeah.
But these are more like functional disorders. So it's like treat the symptoms. You can't really do much about the causes except for lifestyle changes.
Okay, gotcha. So what does that mean exactly? Like obviously we know for celiac disease, it's the gluten-free diet. Right. What is it for the other things?
For IBS, I have IBS type C, which is constipation type. There's 3 types. There's IBS-D, which is diarrhea. IBS-M, which is like 50-50 between the 2. Like you just kind of flip-flop. Mm-hmm. And then IBS-C, which is constipation. So for me, it's identifying trigger foods. So if I eat too many high fiber foods, I have poor gut motility, which means like stool passes really slow through my GI tract. And one thing, like from when I was a kid until like an adult, like I just did not have urgency to go. So I would go like 3+ days, like anywhere from 3 to like 6 days without like going to the bathroom. And I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So I had to like constantly be like, when was the last time I went? And, and that's like an automatic thing for most people. So like, you know, that's just like an added layer of like maintenance where it's like, okay, I have to keep track of like how often I go. I have to make sure I'm not eating too much fiber, but I also need to eat like enough fiber.
Okay, yeah. That's such a difficult balance. And it's hard to keep track of fiber too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one of those things that you're constantly thinking about. So, and then I'd say the like most important thing for me is like hydration. Like if I'm dehydrated, then I'm going to be constipated. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah. Okay. And are there any other like foods that you have to avoid? I know you mentioned like tomatoes. Like do you just not eat those at all now, or?
I think I do it like in moderation, like very moderated. It's really like cooked tomatoes. So like any kind of like red sauce or like pizza or like really yummy things. Those tend to trigger my reflux more than like raw tomatoes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why. If anybody knows and wants to tell me, let me know.
Yeah.
But those things. And then sugar is another trigger, which is sad because I love sweets.
Like added sugars?
Yeah. Like any kind of like, and I've stayed away from high fructose corn syrup for the most part as I've gotten older just because like it just makes me like really tired.
But yeah, I've noticed for me like I don't have like a formal diagnosis with it, but like sugar alcohols, whenever I have a bunch of those, like I get so really stuffed up. And I just get lethargic. It's just not a good mix. So I try to avoid.
I feel that.
So. Yeah. So do you work with a dietitian then to keep track of all of this stuff?
I did for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I got to a point where I was like, I can manage most of my symptoms on my own.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I ever feel like I am not going to get, like if I feel like things are coming up that like I can't deal with, or like I'm in a really bad flare or something, like I'll definitely go back to a dietitian to be like, okay, like what can we do? But like I've done low FODMAP, I've done I did Whole30 for a minute, which I think was a very interesting experience.
I know a lot of people do that for like wedding prep.
Yeah.
So I've heard about that.
If I could avoid it, I would like to never do it again.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, so like I think at some point maybe like I also have PCOS.
Okay.
And I gained a lot of weight like unintentionally. It just kind of like appeared one day. at some point I would probably like to go back to a dietitian to figure out like, okay, how do we like get rid of this weight to make my PCOS a bit more manageable? But for now, like knock on wood,
like things have been good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It sounds like you've like been through a whole journey and now you're like on the other side of it. So I love that. Okay, let's get into some fun segments. So first up, gluten-free fave of the week.
Gluten-free Cheez-Its everyone loves, obviously.
Okay.
But I've been really liking, have you heard of the brand called Mighty Spark?
No, I haven't.
So they do chicken sticks. Like, you know, there's like meat sticks of many kinds. Like there's Loris's Kitchen and all the others.
Yeah. Like beef jerky kind of.
Yeah. These ones specifically are chicken. And I've been trying to like reduce the amount of red meat I've been eating.
Okay. Is that like to manage symptoms or just health in general?
I think beef just makes me feel icky.
Yeah.
But I also just like chicken.
Yeah. Valid.
But so they have one that's honey and jalapeno flavored.
Ooh,
and it's
okay.
really good. Yeah. And I find that like they don't make me feel like heavy or gross or icky. And it's like a nice little protein boost in the middle of the day.
Love that. That reminds me of Chomps. I don't know if you've had those.
Yes.
But I guess the chicken version.
Similar. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I'll have to try that. Yeah. Okay, next up we have our news of the week. A study found that Black patients with biopsy-confirmed celiac disease are significantly more likely to have negative blood tests, meaning the usual first screening tool, which is the TTG test, the blood test that a lot of people take, may not flag their condition even when they truly have celiac disease. So I'll link this article in the show notes, but essentially the study suggests that the current screening methods and assumptions about who gets celiac disease may be missing people in underrepresented groups, leading to disparities in care. And it also challenges the idea that celiac disease mostly affects non-Hispanic white individuals and highlights a need for equitable testing strategies and broader awareness that celiac can present differently across racial and ethnic groups. So I know this is something that you share a lot about on your social media. Yeah, curious to get your take on it and kind of what you've learned from the research that you've done.
Yeah, it's a really good study. I definitely recommend everyone take a look at it. And it's one of those studies that's like kind of approachable, like if you understand how the scientific method works. But this study was actually one that I found probably shortly before I started making my own content. My diagnosis story is like a little atypical, not just because of COVID, but also because of like the order of operations and all that. But this is something that like affects me personally too. Like my test results were negative.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what did you do after you got a negative celiac test? Were you like, okay, I don't have this?
It's wild. So for my story, my GI thought I had Crohn's disease at first. He didn't even think I had celiac. We did a colonoscopy and it couldn't be completed just because like the prep it wasn't completely effective the first time we tried it.
Oh, okay.
So we rescheduled it and he said, well, while you're under, let's just add on an endoscopy, kind of like on a whim.
Okay.
And
wow.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to see anything, but he did see like mild inflammation, irritation. He took a biopsy and then we did the blood test, which was really interesting. Yeah. So we did everything really backwards.
Okay.
When we did the blood test, my IgA antibody, because there are 2 antibodies for the TTG test that you can get. And the most common antibody that is used to diagnose celiac disease is the IgA. There's also an IgG antibody, which is it can appear for other autoimmune conditions, but if you are IgA deficient, it's a good diagnostic tool in order to determine if you have celiac disease. So my IgA was normal, but my IgG was elevated. It was positive. It was mildly positive, but it was positive. At that point, though, and this was April of 2020. Like the pandemic had like just started and everything was closed down. My doctor's office was closed. He was like, the only thing that we can do right now, because my insurance denied genetic testing at the time, was to go on a gluten-free diet and then retest my blood work later. So it was like almost like an anti-gluten challenge, which so many people, they go gluten-free and then they have to eat gluten again to test for the antibodies. I did it the other way, where I went gluten-free and we retested my antibodies. And,
to see if they went down, basically?
And they did. And they dropped to like half the value.
Yeah. Wow.
And,
okay. Cool.
Yeah. So because of that, because of the findings from the endoscopy, and because my symptoms so immensely improved, he was like, you wouldn't have had this kind of response if you didn't have celiac disease.
Right.
So that was how I ended up getting my diagnosis, which is so...
Wait, what a great doctor, though, because I feel like you don't hear stories like that often these days, because it's interesting. So I had a doctor on the podcast. The episode hasn't come out yet, but essentially they kind of mentioned like, oh, like the way that like med school works, you're kind of taught these like patterns of what types of patients have certain diseases and like how it tends to show up. And that's kind of how like the Western medical system is trained. Right. So I feel like it's rare for a doctor to be like, okay, actually, we're just going to put all of that like out the window and then just kind of problem solve together and figure this out. Yeah. So that's like, how did you find your doctor?
I was lucky because I was in college. My mom found him.
Okay.
And he's been great. He's been my doctor since then. He's really been the type of person to be like really thorough and to answer all my questions too. Because like, you know, like anybody who has celiac or has an autoimmune disease, like we're always researching and like trying to understand our disease to like basically become experts in it. So like any questions I ever had, he was like, okay, like this is what this means, or like this is what you should be looking out for. Yeah. So that I'm not like, you know, WebMDing my life.
Totally. No, I've been down that rabbit hole before. So did you know what celiac was then at that time before?
I had heard of
these tests? Okay.
I knew someone who I went to high school with who had celiac. So it's funny. I don't know if you know Emily Shaw. She does DIY content on TikTok.
I feel like I know that name. I'm sure I've seen her content. Yeah.
She basically, during COVID, she flipped her parents' house. Like she thrifted a bunch of stuff and like,
oh wow,
or not flipped it, but like renovated it completely.
Okay.
And went like kind of viral for it. But she has celiac.
Okay.
And she was like the only person I knew that had celiac before I got diagnosed. And then I actually thought I was gluten intolerant before I was diagnosed with celiac, just like very casually.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman in college, I had a friend who was gluten intolerant, 2 friends actually, and they're both Black, which is interesting because now I'm like, I feel like you guys should go get tested.
Yeah.
So I very casually like tried being gluten-free for maybe like 6 months, and it was so hard, and I just like didn't treat it seriously, and I'm really glad I didn't, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten a clear answer.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason in the long run. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So what was it like? You got the celiac diagnosis after a bit of like trials.
Yeah.
And then you were still dealing with other symptoms at the time too. It was COVID. I mean, that was just like, it's like a fever dream. Like, yeah, that's a lot of stress. But how were you at the time emotionally with like adjusting to a new diet? And was it, were you excited to get celiac disease because you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to feel better? Or were you like, oh, this is really annoying to have to deal with?
So funnily enough, I worked in a bakery like directly prior. And I loved baking. Like it was my like medicine. It was really good for my mental health. I really liked like technical stuff that like you see on like the Great British Bake Off, like, you know, the really like fancy like takes 30 steps and lots of you know,
impressive.
So like that was the kind of stuff like I really enjoyed. And I was like, oh haha, this would be so funny if I was actually diagnosed with this thing and couldn't eat gluten for the rest of my life. And then it happened and I was like, I kind of asked for it, you know? So I think for a while I was like in a state of denial, to be like very honest. Like with everything going on with COVID, like it was my senior year of college. I went back to school, like they reopened campus, but they had a very strict mandatory meal plan and it was not safe. And I was getting like cross contact like all over the place. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand cross contamination. But I also saw it. So I think I like kind of understood it, but didn't realize how much it was affecting me.
Okay. So when you were diagnosed, did your doctor kind of, or your dietitian lay out cross-contamination for you? Or was that something you just kind of learned over the first couple years? It was very trial and error. Okay,
like,
I feel like that's the story with everybody, unfortunately. Yeah.
It's hard, I think, like, because like if you live your life with gluten, that's tricky, right? But if you live your life without it, like you're not knowing where to look for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I feel like everyone has to like go through that grieving period of like, okay, like this is real, this is forever, like I have to be really serious about this. Otherwise there's like medical repercussions that can happen.
And it sounds like you were doing more research on celiac disease, and then also with like the like testing process and how like it can be different across like different racial groups. Like whenever you were doing that, what inspired you to look more into it?
I think for me, everything was online, right, during COVID.
Yeah.
And for like a few years afterwards, like everyone was still like very like in their bubbles and there wasn't a lot of community. So like I was looking for community. I was looking for more people with celiac. And the thing that actually caught my eye was that my social media feed, especially like celiac and gluten-free, was like very white, and it just wasn't like representative completely of my experience and like other people of color's experiences. And I'm like, there's no way like I'm the only person of color with this disease. Like that's just not how diseases work.
Right.
So
but that is the stereotype.
Right, exactly. And I was like, okay, where are the people of color? So then I was like, okay, let me like start Googling. And what I was finding out was like scientists were the ones saying, and like doctors were the ones saying, no, this is a white disease. Like there was one study, or I think it was a study at some point that people started quoting where they're like, yeah, if you had a European ancestor who survived the bubonic plague, like that's where your celiac gene came from, which was so random. And I was like, but what if you don't have a European ancestor that survived the bubonic plague? Like, you know?
Totally.
So, like, those kinds of random things that I was like, this feels like a load of baloney, you know? And so when I started, like, really digging into it, I was like, it doesn't make sense that only, I think, the metrics haven't been updated, but I think the one that's still being quoted is, like, 0.22% of the population is Black that has celiac compared to like 1.08% or something. Like that stark difference to me immediately screamed like result of systems of inequality as opposed to actual like
those are just the people that are diagnosed versus there could be so many people out there that just are misdiagnosed with something else or have no idea 100%. That they have celiac disease.
So that study that you reference, there's a later part of it that talks about the percentage of people who have this thing called the IgA deficiency. And it was 80% of the people who had celiac disease, who had endoscopy and biopsy confirmed celiac disease, did not have a positive blood test result.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because that means that 80% of those people would have been missed if the blood test was that first barrier to entry.
Exactly, yeah. Which it usually is.
Right.
That's the story that people always tell. It's like, okay, I got a blood test, then I got the biopsy after the fact because a blood test is less invasive. It's easier to do. It's like easier to order.
For insurance.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think that there should be, I mean, I think people have already been talking about how there should be other ways to test for celiac disease. But I mean, I know you're involved with like the space a lot.
Yeah.
And I know I saw on your page you go to like the GI of Color conference. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't know if those types of conversations are happening there where it's like, okay, how can this, you know, in the future, so people aren't just getting a blood test for celiac disease, it comes back negative, and then they're like, okay.
Told you have IBS and go on your merry way.
Yeah, then they just eat gluten for the rest of their life and suffer, which is, I mean, that sounds awful.
Another really interesting statistic that I read was that the majority of people who are on a gluten-free diet are Black, which is, you wouldn't expect that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I was reading.
Like more, not for fun, but just like for their own.
Like medical reasons.
Oh, for medical reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like people do, you know, like people do elimination diets and they're like, these are the things that affect me. Like I try to avoid them.
Totally.
That type of thing. Apparently the majority of Black people that do that are doing it because they're like finding some sense of relief for whatever symptoms they're experiencing. So it could be like a lot of like I have a lot of friends who have either like Crohn's or colitis, and they're gluten-free because it lowers their inflammation, reduces their symptoms.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who anecdotally are gluten-free and they probably have celiac, but they weren't able to get diagnosed because their blood tests came back negative. Okay. So it's interesting
but they're just
to
self-diagnosed,
see that.
Like they stopped eating gluten because they noticed that it didn't
they
make
went
them
to the
feel
doctor.
well. Okay, yeah.
The doctor couldn't help them. The doctor said they had IBS, go take this fiber supplement, and their symptoms didn't improve. So, you know, those kinds of things.
And that's interesting, but I think it goes to show too, like obviously going gluten-free is a big part of celiac disease, but there's more to it than that in terms of like really like fully taking control of your health, because there's the cross-contamination, there's addressing other deficiencies that you might have or complications that you might have from it with a GI that like understands that you have celiac disease or an endocrinologist.
Right.
So even if someone is going gluten-free because they kind of notice on their own, there's still things that they could be missing.
That get left behind. Yeah, exactly. And it's tricky because like I think there's also that broken sense of trust too with the healthcare system, right? It's like I go to you, I'm trying to find answers, and you're dismissing me, and I'm still having these problems. So like, what do I do? What do I have to do in order to take my health into my own hands? And that's hard. And you know, I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing more doctors using like anemia as a diagnostic criteria, as opposed to just like failure to thrive and diarrhea and like all the stereotypical things. Like if you're anemic and then they're more likely to test you, which is good.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, obviously there's only so much that we can do as like like medical professionals, but I think still just even like sharing your story and just talking about it, like that just like spreads more awareness and more people are able to hear like, oh, well, come to think of it, like maybe I should actually push back more with my doctor. Push back sounds strong, but like, you know what I mean? Like maybe like, I should,
you know, have those conversations.
Cool. Yeah. Is there anything that you tell like your followers, or I don't know if people follow you that are like getting diagnosed with celiac, or if most people already probably have celiac, it's a mix.
It's a mix. It's definitely a mix.
Yeah. Is there any advice you share in terms of like helping patients learn to advocate for themselves if they're being dismissed by their doctor?
That's a good one. I mean, the way that I see like doctor-patient relationships is like it's very collaborative. It's like a coaching relationship where like number one, like you're trying to build something together. You're trying to get to like a common goal where, and like presumably that common goal is like a better position of health. So in that regard, like asking lots of questions and coming like really prepared is something that I advocate a lot for. Like if you have a lot of symptoms, try to keep track of those symptoms, like the frequency, the duration, the intensity. If you suspect any kind of triggers for those symptoms, or like, you know, what was happening in your life, like when these things came on, that kind of information, if you write that down and provide that to your doctor, it helps your doctor find patterns. And that's really what doctors look for. Like they look for the pattern. So that's like first and foremost, having like preparation and information.
That is so important though, because it's
right?
kind of like with anything in life, like you get out what you put into it. And I remember for a while I didn't have that mindset when I went to the doctor, and I'd just show up and be like, yeah, I mean, I feel fine.
I'm fine right now.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm good today.
Yeah.
And that's like so
Should've seen me
irrelevant
last
to
week.
the appointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're trying to ask me questions like, oh, like, what are your symptoms? And I'm just like, honestly, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But then when I started like doing my homework before a doctor's appointment and then coming and being like, okay, this was the last date of XYZ. And then like, I felt really bad after I had this specific food. Same with like preparing for a dietitian appointment. It's like, you have to like, come in with like the collaborative approach.
Yes.
It's not just like they're going to tell you everything.
Right. They're not mind readers. They're not like wizards. They can't just like wave a wand and be like, poof, you're better. Because if they could, they would.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that that's really important. But I would also say like there is also a line where it's like, if you don't feel like your doctor's listening to you, like never be afraid of a second opinion. Like that's like the number one. I've had to do that with so many different doctors, and it's really reassuring to know that like you are not stuck or tied to one doctor. And if you feel like you're either like not being treated seriously or like even like respectfully, because like, you know, people have experiences with like medical gaslighting and discrimination. If you're feeling those things, your doctor does work for you, and you can fire them and go find a different doctor.
Yeah. No, that's so important for people to realize, because I feel like, at the end of the day, but I feel like people forget that, and I've forgotten that in the past too.
It's scary, because then you feel like, it's like, it feels like a power imbalance where it's like, you have to listen to what they say and you have to do what they say, even if you feel like. Because
they're the one with all the knowledge and training.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor, but also like if you feel like your doctor does not actually have your best interests in mind or does not actually care about the quality of your care, there is a doctor out there that does. You just have to find them.
Yeah, totally. You have to like take things with a grain of salt and be able to filter out like, okay, is this like tough love or is this maybe not love at all? Okay, I'm curious, because I know, like, with your platform, you're always, like, talking about subjects that I feel like aren't talked about as often in the celiac content creator space. So I'm curious, like, what is one thing or multiple things that you wish that the celiac creator space talked about more online?
I think, for one, I mean, like, elephants in the room, right? Like, celiac disease is not a white disease. Like, that's number one. That's not something I really hear from a lot of other creators. I think there's silent agreement, but silent agreement doesn't help those of us that feel like we're kind of like on the fringe of the community. So I really wish that there were more creators that spoke up and kind of said that, just because the misconception like persists. It's not just outside of the gluten-free community. I mean, and inside too, right? There's people with celiac that are like, oh no, yeah, this is a European thing. Like, you know, nobody else gets this. Or maybe you're a unicorn, you have a European ancestor. So that's like the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like.
And what do you think like is a way for like creators to do that? Because just, I don't know, like speaking from like my own experience, I feel like for me, like I just kind of share like my story.
Yeah.
And then like it's nice having podcasts because then I get to share the stories of like a lot of other people as well that come on. But outside of that, I'm kind of like, okay, like I don't want to share something that's not my story.
How do I
like,
do it without overstepping?
Yeah.
It's definitely a tricky balance. I think like, first of all, like making space for those of us with this experience to like talk about our experience is super important. So like, thank you for that. There's lots of other creators who do that, like platform sharing, collaboration. Like those are like how we like build community in the advocacy and activist space. We call that like coalition building. So like that's really important. But also I think it is okay for white creators to be like, celiac isn't a white disease. Anybody can have celiac disease. I think it's an okay thing for people to like state that.
Totally, yeah.
Because it's like, it's one of those things where it's what we call a collective action problem, which basically means that we need buy-in from everyone in order to fix it. If the people of color, which are the smallest group of people in the celiac community, are the ones saying it over and over and over again, but the majority are the ones who are not saying anything, not doing anything to change it, nothing changes. Like, the needle doesn't move. So in that regard, it's a matter of like all of us coming together and saying it at the same time. And once we can do that, that's when the outside community starts listening, if that makes sense.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense, because it starts with just the celiac community as a whole. And then there's also, you know, what people think of the celiac community for people that don't have celiac and those stereotypes, which really is, I feel like, what affects people with celiac the most showing up in the world. Because it's like, if you go to a restaurant, or even if you're talking to a friend, they're not in the celiac community. They're just kind of knowing like what they hear about it from.
And that's the thing. If they're just hearing from word of mouth, what they're going to hear are those same misconceptions and stereotypes like repeated from within the community. So it's going to like trickle out. And it's like telephone, right? Like, you hear the thing that's been repeated 5 or 6 times and has been translated like 5 or 6 times. So it's like, okay, well, we need to make sure the message is like strong and loud and clear, so that once it eventually trickles outside, then it'll almost correct itself at some point.
Totally. And I feel like that happens with anything, even like oats, for example.
Oh my God.
Like, then it's like everyone's talking about that in a different way.
Oh, the most divisive topic in the gluten-free community.
Oh my gosh, I know. Wait, what is your stance on oats? Do you eat them?
I eat gluten-free oats.
Okay, yeah.
But regular oats are a no-go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I unfortunately cannot eat gluten-free oats.
No.
Because that's still just like, I don't know, I guess I'm sensitive to it.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I've moved on. It's been a few years. But yeah, no, I know a lot of people can have the gluten-free oats and are totally fine.
I'm very lucky. I do not take it for granted.
I'm curious too, like, what you want celiac patients out there to know that might not feel as represented with like creators online. Like, what would you say to someone that feels like, oh, they're like the only person that they know with celiac, or that like they don't have anyone that they can relate to?
I think most of us started out like that. I think that's where like all these accounts came from. Like, we all felt really lonely. So we like decided to like scream out into like the void that is the internet and be like, hey, is anyone out there? And like, you know, instead of echoes back, like we heard other people saying, hey, we're right here.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So is that why you started your page?
Oh, yeah.
And like, when did you start your page? Like, how soon after?
So I started my page just to like reshare educational content. And it wasn't even my own content. It was like things from Beyond Celiac, or like CDF, or National Celiac, or GIG. I think that's all 4 of them. But I was just resharing like their information on stories. And the only people that followed me were people I knew in real life. Okay. So like people I went to college with, people I went to high school with, my family. And that was about 6 months after I was diagnosed. A little less than 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty soon after.
Yeah. And then in 2022, so I started the page January 2021. 2022, I decided to start posting my own content because I felt like it was almost 2.5 years later, and my feed hadn't changed. Like, it still looked the same. And I was like, if I don't start posting content as a person of color, I don't know if anyone else will. And I don't want another little Black girl to be like, I got diagnosed with this thing and I'm the only one who has it and I feel really alone. Or some kid like trying to be able to like participate in their culture and they can't and nobody gets it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want, or even like adults, you know, like I've been normal for, 50 years and now everything that I ate growing up as a kid, I can't, or everything that like I make for my family. I can't eat that anymore. You know, those kinds of, like,
it's a tough transition. Yeah,
I really wanted, like, folks who had experienced that to be like, this is a safe space here where I can feel like I'm seen and feel like there's somebody out there who knows my experience. And that's like a bit more of an accurate reflection of like what my world looks like.
Yeah, I love that because it does make such a difference. I mean, I remember when I started following, like, I think No Gluten Gabby was like the first person I followed.
Gabby.
I was like, you're kidding. I found like a girl around my age that has celiac disease. Like, this is incredible. So it's so powerful. Yeah.
Shout out, Gabby. I love you. Yeah. That was really like, empowerment was the main focus. Empowerment and like safe space. Like, those are the two things. But also like with a real emphasis on like underrepresented groups in the celiac community.
Yeah. I love that.
Thanks.
And what's like the most, I mean, this might be hard to remember off the bat, but like, what's the most special moment you've had with a follower, like DMing you or meeting you?
Gosh. Okay, so the first time I got recognized in public was really exciting. And I wouldn't say like it wasn't not special. It was very special.
Yeah.
But so like I was at Feel Good Foods had like a pop-up cafe a couple of years ago here in the city. And I went, and it was only very shortly after I'd started my like posting my own content on my page. Because I've always been a very like private person. I was like, I don't want my face and my business on the internet. So, and now I'm my face and business and voice and everything's on the internet, and AI is going to steal it. So, yeah. So the first time I got recognized, I was just like walking, and this girl's just like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite gluten-free creators. She's right there. And I didn't think it was me. And then,
because I'm sure there were like a lot of gluten-free creators. So no, that's so fair. Yeah.
And then she was like, can I take a picture with you? And I was like, oh, sure. Like, it was just like a really like surreal moment where I was like, oh, like there's actual real people behind these accounts that like
totally
do care about what I have to say.
Yeah.
And so like that was really special. But then I made a post a couple of years ago, and there was this one comment that completely, like, I've never been able to forget it. And there was a woman, an older Black woman, who was diagnosed with celiac disease, but it took her having 3 miscarriages in order to find out. And
that's awful.
Her story was like, it was awful. Her experience, like going through all of the things that she went through, her infertility journey, like, but also like to hear that there was someone out there who was able to come out the other side with a diagnosis. She got pregnant after, like, you know, so.
Okay, so she wasn't that old.
There was, I mean, yeah.
I was like,
yeah, I mean, like, older than us.
Yeah,
but like, but like, you know, like those kinds of stories, like, are important. And I feel like a lot of people can't really share them in their regular lives. So like creating a space where people can talk about those things and also like find comfort in each other, that's really important. So like, you know, like those kinds of moments are the ones that really, really stick with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But so sad about her story.
It's hard. I feel like a lot of our stories have like heartache in them.
Yeah.
But we do come out the other side stronger.
But that's why it's nice to have like the safe space of other people with celiac, because they get it, and it's not like you're making someone uncomfortable by like opening up about something, and they're like, oh, okay, like,
I didn't ask.
I've never dealt with health issues, like I don't really want to deal with that.
It's a little too much for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's so important. Okay, I wanted to ask you about the ad that you did. More Than a Diagnosis.
That was so much fun.
In Barcelona, right?
Yeah, I was in Spain. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to tell us everything about this.
I think, what year is this? I think, I'm like, did this NDA expire yet? What can I tell you? I think we're good. I think I can keep it within NDA limitations. Yeah, it was so funny because when I first was contacted about it, I thought it was a scam.
How did they just emailed you?
I just got a cold email from
They found your social media or
it wasn't even like the same production company. It was an advertising agency, and they were based in Amsterdam. And I was like, "Ain't no way this is real." I don't think this. They had me sign an NDA before like doing anything, and then they disappeared.
Okay. That's a little scary.
Yeah, for like I think it was like. How many weeks? It was like six-ish weeks. I heard nothing.
Okay. And so you're probably like, okay, this isn't happening. Like
that. And I was also like, if this is real, like, and I just signed like an NDA, like, what did I just sign? You know?
Right. Yeah.
And then I hear back 2 weeks later after I send a follow-up email. And they're like, hey, this is the client. It's Meta.
Okay.
And this is what the ad campaign is. And can you please send us a couple of short videos? Like, one is just like you talking and like introducing yourself and telling us about your diagnosis and blah blah blah, and then the other one's just like B-roll. And I was like, I can do both. I can do that, sure.
Yeah. What was your B-roll?
Sitting and typing. I was literally just sitting on my couch going do 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 do.
Nice.
And yeah, I got a call back and I got shortlisted, which is a callback.
Okay.
And they had cast like a really wide net because it was the US, Canada, and Europe was their pool. And it was people with autoimmune diseases.
Okay. And I'll have to link the ad in the show notes if you want to watch.
Please go watch it. And after I got shortlisted, I was like, I really want this. Like, I really want this because they gave us more details. They're like, this is how much you're going to get paid. This is where it's going to take place. We're going to fly you out, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I want to go to Spain so bad. Yeah. Like, I was like, I want my Cheetah Girls moment in Barcelona. So I grabbed the first callback slot.
Okay.
And met with the director. We clicked immediately.
Okay.
Very much big sister vibes.
Aww.
And it was great. Like we got on so well. And then they had more shortlisting to go through. And I was really scared that they were going to be like, sorry, we went with someone else. But I got word back from the production team and the director that they really liked me and that they wanted me to be a part of it. But they just needed Meta's confirmation. Okay. So it was like, okay, if Meta says no, I'm going to be heartbroken. Like, if Instagram does not want this ad to happen with me in it, you're going to crush my soul.
But they did.
And I went to Spain and I was there for a week and
that's amazing.
It was awesome.
Were you shooting every day or?
The first 2 days we didn't, and then the rest of the time we did.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's such a cool experience.
It's weird to me to think back. Like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a dream.
Totally, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was great. Shout out Nerd Productions. Cool. They're awesome. They're the production team. I love them.
Would you ever do something like that again?
100%. Like, if it was anything like what I did with Nerd and with the folks in Spain, like, I would 100% do it again. Because they were not only, like, so on top of making sure that I was taken care of and, like, you know, I had all the food I needed, that I was safe, like, everything like that. But also, like, they were just, like, really good humans. If it was anything like that, I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're kind of in another production, the Gluten documentary.
Yes. Gluten is a joke. I am in it with so many other amazing creators.
I can't wait to watch it. I feel like it's going to be like,
watch it.
Y'all should have a premiere.
I keep saying that, Robin, we need a premiere.
Red carpet.
Like, we need, like, a gluten-free, you know, not influencer night, but, like, a premiere party, a watch party. And
yeah.
I think it would do great. And all the gluten-free community is very excited about it, too. I just, like, want more people to know about it, you know? Like, there have been other documentaries about celiac and about being gluten-free, but, like, this one is, like, so, like, raw and poignant and powerful. There's so many really gripping stories in it. And if you have felt alone in the celiac or gluten-free space, or just like you just got diagnosed, or like you're the only one you know with it, like this production will make you feel seen in a way that like you have not felt before. It's incredible.
That's incredible. I can't wait. And it's targeted to come out in the fall, right?
Yes.
Of this year. Okay.
Big fingers crossed that it'll be in the fall.
We will stay tuned.
Yes.
Okay. This has been such an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
I have some rapid fire questions to end us off. What is your favorite gluten-free bread brand right now? As you
oh my gosh. What a divisive question to ask me. I think Canyon is my go-to. Sorry, everybody else. But I do like certain products from certain others. So like I like Char's ciabatta rolls a lot.
Okay.
Those are my fave, like for a nice little quick sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay. Best gluten-free restaurant in DC?
Where do I go all the time? Soul Spice is a dedicated gluten-free Korean fast casual chain restaurant.
Ooh.
So it's like Chipotle, but Korean, and also like better.
And you don't have to worry about any gluten.
No, they've got gluten-free fried chicken.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. And it's like affordable.
Okay.
So if you're ever in DC, go to Soul Spice. And they're everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, yum. Okay, this is also kind of a controversial question. Your thoughts on gluten sensors?
Oh no.
This has been like a hot topic lately.
No.
And I'm curious what you think. Or if you don't have an opinion,
I do
that's
have
fine.
opinions.
Okay.
I always have opinions. I think in theory it's a great tool. I don't think it should replace a skill of knowing how to read labels, knowing how to advocate for yourself in a restaurant. I think in like really risky situations, it can be a great thing to have in your tool belt. Like if you're traveling abroad, you don't speak the language, you've advocated for yourself, you've used a language card, like you've done all the things that you can, but you still have reasonable suspicion to believe that something's off. Yeah, that's really understandable.
Yeah.
But they're also very expensive. Like they're not
totally.
at all.
Yeah. And like full disclosure, I'm like a NEMA affiliate.
And that's totally fine. If you,
but like,
girl, if you can get the sensor, get your bag. Honestly, like, woo.
But like, it's not the type of test where it's sustainable to be doing it like 3 meals out of the day every day. You can't. It's for if you're trying to like, if you're nervous about trying a new restaurant and you just want it for peace of mind. Like, it's a good tool to have in your tool belt to use. Like, on occasion, but you shouldn't be relying on it. That would be an expensive and time-consuming thing to do.
Wasteful. The capsules not being reusable is like my number one gripe. Like if it was a reusable capsule, I'd feel maybe like I'd feel 50% better about it.
Totally. But, and I know they just relaunched, so hopefully it'll continue to get better and the technology will improve. So. But we'll see. It's such a new thing.
Yeah. Honestly, like, if it gets better, my opinion will change. But if they're like, no, we're content with, like, where we are, then I'm like, I can live without it because I know how to advocate for myself. And I think that that's really, like, you know, like, should be the goal for everyone to get to that point.
Totally.
So.
It's like training wheels versus being able to ride a bike on your own. Like, eventually you just want to ride. You don't need the training wheels.
Yes.
Okay. Last question. What is one thing you wish people knew about celiac disease?
I wish that people understood that celiac is not a choice. And I'm talking more so about people who don't have celiac right now.
Right.
Like, we obviously understand that. But there are other people, like, you'll come across, like, in your life, whether they're friends, family, strangers, even doctors to some degree, like non-GIs will think like, oh, like just a little bit of gluten's okay, or like, you know, you're being high maintenance, or like whatever it is. I don't think any of us would choose to do this. Like,
no, that would be so like crazy.
Like, I mean, like
to choose to like have to ask about cross-contamination at every restaurant. Like,
to be
no one wants
so
to do
extra.
That.
Like, I don't like it. I don't want to draw that extra attention to myself. I don't want to pay like the tax of being gluten-free. I don't want to constantly have to like send a server back like 5 times to ask questions and stuff, you know? Like,
yeah,
I don't want to, like, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I don't want to make someone else's life harder.
Yeah.
But also, like, we have to stand up for ourselves and advocate for ourselves, and we should give ourselves the grace that we need to like feel those things, but also like take up the space that we deserve to take up.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I feel like I've been seeing a lot of content lately in the celiac creator space of people being like, I was a people pleaser until I had celiac disease and I had to force it out of me. I'm like, that's so relatable.
Yeah, we're all recovering people pleasers over here.
Exactly. Maybe that's why we had the diagnosis. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. This was so lovely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Where can everyone follow you?
You guys can all follow me on TikTok or Instagram at yeet.that.wheat.
Iconic.
Or you can follow me on Facebook or YouTube at just Yeet That Wheat.
No dots.
No dots.
Okay.
Nice and easy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow the show, rate us, leave a 5-star review, send this episode to a friend. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Celiac Diaries podcast. I hope you're leaving with a tip, a story, or just a little inspiration to live your best life with celiac. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review. Stay well.